On the lonely roads of Chicago, there is a legend that has been told for nearly a century. A story of a chance encounter, a ghostly beauty, and an unexplainable disappearance. This isn't a ghost trying to scare you. This is a spirit trying to find her way home. This is the story of Resurrection Mary. The night is deep, and Archer Avenue is a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the darkness, slick with a recent rain. A lone driver cruises along, the rhythmic beat of the windshield wipers, a hypnotic counterpoint to the hum of the engine. Then, suddenly, the headlights sweep across a figure on the side of the road. It's a young woman, strikingly beautiful, with blonde hair that seems to glow in the artificial light. She's dressed in a stunning, immaculate white ballroom gown, a stark contrast to the desolate, modern roadside. She stands alone, her thumb out hitchhiking. In this moment, the driver makes a choice that will pull them from the mundane world into the heart of one of Chicago's most enduring and chilling legends. The decision to stop to open the door is the first step into a story that has haunted this stretch of road for generations, a tale past. Down in hushed tones by truck drivers, taxi drivers, and late-night travelers, who have all seen the same ethereal figure forever waiting for a ride that will never quite take her home. Those who have given her a ride all tell the same story. The girl is very real, very beautiful, but also very sad. She has blue eyes and blonde hair. She doesn't talk, seemingly lost in her own thoughts. The journey is silent, with only the sound of the engine and the feeling that you are carrying someone who doesn't belong to this world. Once she's in the car, an uncanny quiet descends. The radio might crackle with static or fall silent altogether. A palpable cold seeps into the air, a chill that has nothing to do with the outside temperature. The woman sits, often in the back seat, a silent and distant passenger. She never initiates conversation. When spoken to, her answers are brief, vague, or non-existent. Her gaze is fixed on the passing scenery, her expression one of profound melancholy, as if she is watching memories flicker by on the other side of the glass. Drivers report an overwhelming sense of carrying a passenger, weighed down by an immense, unspoken sorrow. She is solid. She is tangibly, can see the fabric of her dress, the strands of her hair, and yet there is an undeniable air of otherworldliness about her, a quiet dignity that feels ancient and sorrowful. The short journey becomes an eternity, each passing mile stretching the silence and thickening the strange, cold atmosphere inside the car. And then the fateful moment occurs. As the car passes or stops in front of the Resurrection Cemetery gates, the girl suddenly disappears. Not a sound, not a goodbye. She simply vanishes into thin air. Terrified drivers stop their cars. They check, but there is nothing. The doors are still locked. They were alone. The destination is always the same. As the distinctive, ornate iron gates of Resurrection Cemetery come into view, the driver might turn to ask if this is her stop, or perhaps glance into the rearview mirror to check on their silent passenger. In that split second, the encounter reaches its horrifying climax. The back seat is empty. The presence that had filled the car with its cold, silent grief is gone. There is no click of a door handle, no gust of wind from an open window, no sound of a footstep on the pavement. She is simply not there anymore. Panic sets in. The driver slams on the brakes, the car skidding to a halt just outside the cemetery. They frantically check the back, their heart pounding against their ribs. The doors are still locked from the inside. There is no rational explanation. The beautiful, sad girl in the white dress has vanished as mysteriously as she appeared, leaving behind only an icy dread and a story that borders on the unbelievable. This was not a one-time story. This was a phenomenon. Since the 1930s, dozens of credible witnesses have reported encounters with this girl. The details are always identical. Archer Avenue, the white dress, the sad beauty, and the disappearance at Resurrection Cemetery. She became Chicago's most famous ghost. What began as a local whisper grew into a citywide legend as the decades passed. The accounts started trickling in during the late 1930s, told by cabbies who picked up a fare they never collected, by businessmen driving home late from the city, and by young couples out on a late-night drive. The stories were remarkably consistent, crossing lines of age, profession, and skepticism. Each witness described the same young woman, the same elegant white dress, the same silent journey, and the same shocking, vanishing act in front of the same cemetery. Newspaper articles from the 40s, 50s, and 60s documented the growing number of sightings. The police were called on numerous occasions by frantic drivers, but investigations always turned up nothing. The ghostly hitchhiker of Archer Avenue was given a name, one that tied her directly to her final, ethereal destination, Resurrection Mary. So who is she? The most popular theory is that she is the spirit of Mary Bregovy, a young Polish-American woman. One night in 1934, after dancing at the O. Henry Ballroom, she argued with her boyfriend and decided to walk home along Archer Avenue. She was struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver. She was buried in Resurrection Cemetery in her white ballroom dress. To understand the ghost, one must understand the girl. The leading candidate for Mary's identity is a young woman whose life was cut tragically short. In the heart of the Great Depression, dance halls like the O. Henry Ballroom were vibrant escapes from a difficult reality. Mary Bregovy, by all accounts, was a lively young woman who loved to dance. The story goes that on that fateful night in 1934, an argument with her partner soured the evening. Upset, she stormed out of the ballroom and chose to brave the long walk home alone down the dark and dangerous Archer Avenue rather than accept a ride. It was on that lonely walk that her life was ended in a flash of headlights and screeching tires. A hit-and-run driver left her on the side of the road to die. When her family buried her, they dressed her in the beautiful white gown she had worn for her last dance. Her final resting place was within the grounds of Resurrection Cemetery, connecting all the pieces of the puzzle: the girl, the dress, the road, and the cemetery. The legend became even more believable with a piece of strange, physical evidence. In the 1970s, after a driver reported that Mary had passed through the locked cemetery gates, The iron bars were found mysteriously bent outwards, and on them small handprints were scorched into the metal marks that could not be removed, and seemed to belong to a woman who had tried to pull her way through. For decades, the story was purely anecdotal, a collection of chilling but unprovable tales that changed in 1976. A late-night traveler reported seeing the familiar girl in white, not on the road, but on the other side of the cemetery's main gates. He claimed she had her hands on the bars, as if trying to get out, or perhaps in. When cemetery workers arrived the next morning, they discovered something that sent a shiver through the entire city. 2 of the thick wrought iron bars of the main gate were bent apart, and more disturbingly, embedded in the metal where the bars were bent were the distinct scorched imprints of small hands. The marks were clear, undeniable, and seemingly seared into the very iron. Cemetery officials tried to repair the bars and remove the prints, but the scorch marks remained, a permanent and physical scar on the landscape of the legend. For believers, this was the ultimate proof, the tangible trace of a ghostly touch, a desperate attempt to break through the barrier between her world and ours. Resurrection Mary has become a part of Chicago's culture, a sad and romantic ghost story. Is she forever trying to finish her last journey home? Or is she just looking for one last dance? Her beautiful and tragic spirit remains an unsolved mystery on the lonely roads, a journey that never ends. She is more than just a frightening specter. She is a folk hero, a figure of tragic romance woven into the fabric of the windy city. Her story is not one of malice, but of unending sorrow and a quest that is never completed. Perhaps she is eternally reliving her final, fatal walk, forever seeking the ride that will finally get her home. Or maybe her spirit lingers near the ballrooms she once loved, hoping for one last partner to waltz with before returning to the cold quiet of the cemetery. Whatever the truth, the ghostly girl in the white dress continues to walk the shoulder of Archer Avenue, a beautiful and heartbreaking enigma. Her legend persists, a reminder that some stories never truly end, and some spirits are destined to wander, forever caught in a beautiful, sad, and final dance between life and death.